I cannot tell you how many times on this channel we have covered the plight of the British business community since 2016. Just not knowing right up until the deadline of Brexit what was going to happen. They didn't know what even trading agreements were going to be in place, let alone if there even were going to be any trading agreements in place. And now we've ended up with this type of Brexit deal, one of which has managed to satisfy absolutely no one in the business community. And if you look back historically, when we originally joined Europe, what was the main reason we joined? We joined because businesses were crying out to be part of the European community that was being built. And it doesn't surprise me that we are going to be seeing not only people who backed Remain, who were businessmen, but also people that we've seen just this week, Brexiteers wanting to say, well, this isn't the Brexit I voted for. You know, we had the boss of Next come out and say, yeah, I didn't want this Brexit. But as we've always said, what happened with Brexit? Well, it was like any revolution. The extremists took control and have been in control since the beginning. And any excuse to try and say, oh, well, Brexit isn't working because, oh, it's just those Remainers that are trying to stop it. Well, the Brexiteers have been in charge since 2016. And yet they still can't accept the fact that they won and that they are trying to have to deal with all the problems we predicted back then. But it's not just obviously businessmen, but it's also farmers as well who are having massive troubles as well. So let's get into how both of these communities and how they're both having huge problems, which remember, Leave said both these communities, British businesses will be booming. British farmers, they'll have never had it so good outside the EU. Turns out, once again, promises of the Leave campaign not being fulfilled. Big shocker there. So, as always, before we go diving into this, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and an off-station link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, well, buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do help and support the channel that way. Of course, there is the YouTube thank you button as well down below, and the YouTube subscription called the Pony Club. You can join as well, where you get stuff when you sign up to that. So, over we go today to Euronews with the title of Some UK Farmers Say They Are Struggling to Cope After Brexit. Big surprise. If you may remember the statistic that 80% of all UK small farmers would potentially go bankrupt after Brexit. Look what's happening now. So, anyway, let's get into it. So, food production in the UK is slowing down, and some farms are shrinking. Many farmers say they're struggling to cope. Liz Webster, the chair of Save Our British Food, says that it is a disastrous situation, spiraling out of control. She represents a number of British farmers who are now calling on the UK to re-enter the single market, saying, trade is bound up in so much red tape, it couldn't be worse for us. There's two things. Yes, you're selfish, you're a business, but also I tend to look at it for the whole country. And I'm really concerned for food security, food stocks, and food supply. Wow. just wow. In that comment alone. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me. You're going to see this now. Groups who were at one point calling for Britain to leave the EU are going to start reversing completely, saying, okay, yeah, we need to be in the single market customs union now, guys. Let's start this. But back to it. Webster then goes on to say that the quick solution is to free up trade by getting back in the single market as quickly as possible. And it's not just those involved in farming who are changing their minds. According to the British Polling Council, there has been a clear shift since the 2016 referendum, in which they say has accelerated over the past year, with at least 57% of British people now believing that Brexit was a mistake. The wine industry is yet another that's been significantly impacted, with many companies struggling to get wine across the channel. Where it once just took a matter of days for delivery, it can now take months. In many sectors, and now frustrated, frontline politicians appear now unwilling to debate a possible re-entry to the single market. Ben Wilcock from the Lant Wine Street Company says he is staggered, saying they're not having this conversation right now. There are so many businesses out there who are really struggling. Every day it annoys us, and we need to have honest conversations about the customs union and the single market. While this tide of public opinion has turned, the negative impacts of Britain's departure from the EU continues to be felt across many sectors. Yeah, are we surprised? Absolutely not. We've been saying this constantly. You know, the big conversation that's going to happen next is you cannot have a proper conversation about the British economy until you address Brexit. And rejoining the single market and customs union is one of the easiest fixes you can get to solve the British economy, because not only will it solve the British economy, it will also help to solve the problems that are going on in Northern Ireland as well. So the second that we do this and we start having a real serious conversation, which you've now got pressure groups forming, which is what we wanted. This is a good position now. There are now pressure groups forming to put pressure on politicians. Hey, start talking about re-entering the single market. And we'll eventually end up back in there. And then the conversation goes, well, hold on, guys. Why aren't we sort of full members? Why don't we have, you know, a seat at the table? What? Go all the way back to 2016. I did videos about talking about what the route back was for the UK. And this is always how it started. You would have businesses, business community, the public pressure on businesses to push the country back into the single market. The exact same way it happened last time. Why? Because you cannot escape trade gravity. Trade gravity is an observable, true fact that countries always trade with their closest partners and their closest neighbors. And who are they? They're just right across the channel. It's the EU. America is not coming to the rescue, as Brexiteers often hoped and fantasized about. That ain't happening. Doesn't matter if we join the Trans-Pacific Partnership, because the Trans-Pacific Partnership is not going to change its rules significantly enough to actually favor us. Because why should a group of countries halfway around the world change their rules, laws, and regulations to favor us, who's on the other side of the planet? So the Trans-Pacific Partnership is not going to save us from that. And if you're wanting to join that, then why not join one of the largest, most successful single markets that is literally on our doorstep? It'll happen. And the fact that this has now picked up, the fact that we've now got these groups putting pressure, means that these conversations will slowly start to happen in Parliament. And I think it could be next year where we start to see these serious conversations happen in Parliament. I really think it will be. And then once those conversations start, oh boy, are the Brexiteers going to be in absolute fits. Oh boy, and it is going to be, it's going to be fun. Oh, it's going to be fun. Ooh. But as always, thank you very much, as always, for watching. Please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, we'll see you all next time. And as always, we'll see you then.